as I introduce the candidates. Richard Branco, Richard Cabeceiras, Joseph Camara, Stephen Camara, Patricia Casey, Earl Gaudette, Trott Joseph Lee, Louis Melim, Linda Pereira, Joshua Silva, Jeffrey Silvia, Jordan James Silvia. Pay as you throw in sanitation fees. Keep them, change them, or replace their revenue by another mean. What would you do?
Unfortunately, I believe pay as you throw is something that is here to stay. It's a way of the future. I think it needs to be revisited, but I think it's a way of the future and a plan that may have to be implemented and stay with maybe some corrections. As far as the $10 fee, there's no real way to say that I know of that's going to be fair to see who is granted an abatement and who is not. I believe you have to have an ordinance or a set of laws to back policy before you implement policy.
My feelings have not changed since the original meeting when I was with my friend Will Flanagan, the mayor, with the neighborhood groups. I think it was a mistake in the first place. I opposed it long before it became an issue, and I feel the same way. I sort of like the idea of recycling, and I think it would work if we turned around and we did buy the bags, and we turned around and used the law to make sure that people were using them instead of some do and some don't. When the landfill was making money, we had the enterprise fund, but the landfill is no longer making money, so I think we should completely do away with the enterprise fund and make it part of the regular taxes. My solution is a one-time 2.5% override. There's 40 units in Fall River, like the Milliken Apartments, that do not contribute.
From day one, I've been against pay-as-you-throw. I'm against the sanitation fee because I believe the reason we got to pay-as-you-throw and the sanitation fee is for poor management of the city's finances over the past 2 to 3 decades. I think the city needs to get out of the trash business. It's a very competitive business, and the city cannot compete with these companies any longer. Recycling's a great thing, but as we see now with the pay-as-you-throw, we see there's trash bags all over the city, people dumping everywhere, and that's directly because pay-as-you-throw, people can't afford that.
I believe in privatizing of trash, but I believe there'll be a lot of other people that wouldn't complain about the bags if they had bags like this. This is just a better quality bag. You could put more stuff in it. Through my research, I realized that if we do privatize trash, there is a way to make a profit off of selling the trash trucks. We'd just figure out a formula based on the contract, and each tenant would have to pay for what they want in trash.
This system is a bad system. The $10 fee is the most regressive. My first act in returning to the council will be to reverse that regressive fee. 3 of the councilors that are here voted to transfer fees and fines to the boards and commissions back in 2008. The city council has relinquished its responsibility, and that shouldn't be the case.
The fact of the matter is that we've had a landfill that was closed this year, and I'm very, very cautious and afraid of what will happen if we privatize DPW. We sold the dump and lost control of our landfill. Here we are today with no landfill, which actually would probably be going for another 40, 50 years. If we want to reinvent the DPW, we will not be able to.
I didn't support the $10 fee. Let's look at how we get to the $10 fee and the bags. There was a $14 million SAFER grant that was funding the fire department, and the city was being surplus, the trash department was being surplus through general funds. So in order to take that money and put it back into the general funds to support the fire department, they had to make the enterprise fund for the sanitation self-sufficient, and that's the problem. You can't have an enterprise fund being self-sufficient when the only means it has of collecting any money is through trash. Right now, if there's a problem, the sanitation fund needs more money. The only thing they can get more money from is either increase the bags amount or increase the $10 fee.
I don't agree it's here to stay. I don't think it has to be here to stay. I think a lot of people feel like it's here to stay because they don't want to fight. Raise your hand if you like the implementation of this program. Right, they make you pay. You don't have a choice if the government wants more money. You have no choice right now. People should have a choice.
I don't think we need to revisit this program. I think we need to dump it immediately. In today's world, you cannot take care of financial problems by increasing taxes. That doesn't work. It never has, never will. Ask California, they'll tell you. We have never had deficits in our budget in Fall River. What we've had is over expenditures. Our leaders have failed us over the last 20 years. We knew about the dump 20 years ago. Nothing has been done.
When the bag was implemented, I thought it was poorly implemented, so much so that I wrote a letter to the Attorney General because I thought our Corporation Counsel at the time was misleading us. I wrote a letter to the Inspector General. Both of them told me we had to refer to Corporation Counsel. But on August the 1st, 2014, there should have been something implemented to find those who weren't following through. It was either implement this fee or lay off 156 people. Laying off police, fire, or city hall workers was not an answer. It's costing me $1,000 a year. Every two cycles, which I put in to split the bill in half and put in the abatement.
Linda Pereira just said she thought it was implemented poorly, yet voted for it about 10 times off the top of my head that I remember. What was that, Linda? You don't have a microphone? Joe Camara, again, said it was poorly implemented. I don't know if you voted for the $10 fee. You voted against it, okay. The bags, and I'm sure you voted for. In the budget, you voted for the budget, right, Joe? Voted for the budget? You didn't vote for the first budget last year, Joe? Yeah, you did. I remember you did. Okay, I remember when you did. Jeff here said it's here to stay. It's the way of the future. Nothing this government does is here to stay or the way of the future. Remember the grand compromise right before the budget this year? Ken Pacheco comes up and he says, oh, we're going to give out bags and whatnot. Then it became too tough. But it's easy to steal everybody's money. That's the easy way.
Thank you, Jordan. The city's fire department has faced fluctuating staffing levels since the awarding of the record-breaking SAFER grant. What level of staffing do you think is appropriate for the city of Fall River, and how would you sustain it financially?
What we're going to end up with is a fire department that has older gentlemen instead of younger gentlemen, and that is going to be more difficult in fighting fires. The problem is when you go out and you get a SAFER grant with no plan on how you're going to supplement when SAFER is gone, that's where the issue lies. They do need equipment. We are waiting for a 5-year plan from the fire chief to look at what are the greatest needs of the fire department to then strategize how that is going to be accomplished. If you want these services, you've got to pay for them. You can't have it both ways. It sounds good to say, we shouldn't do this, we should hire more, but there's a compromise, there's a balance in how you're going to obtain services for the community and how you're going to pay for them.
A lot of you don't know, I witnessed my first house fire when I was 8 years old on 5th Street. And that's why I'm such an advocate for firefighters, because I've witnessed it. I personally believe a firefighting level should be at least at 200, and we use SAFER grants to get the equipment. We got to think outside the box. We can do drag racing. Why nobody in the council has ever thought about this before is mind-blowing. I spent 24 hours going through the budget. The leadership, being the mayor, decides to take a pay cut of 10%. You would be able to get the unions to come on down to take a 5% pay cut. And then we're throwing the car shows and community events through the rest of the year. We'll be able to come up with the rest of the money to sustain a level staffing for our fire department.
Waste disposal and recycling disposal comes into play here because that's right now on the city budget. If we did do as candidate Silva said, leaving the responsibility to each property owner rather than the responsibility of the government, you would have that expense off the budget. You may be able to free up some more money from the general fund to cover for more fire department. We don't look at government expense or cutting spending. We always look at taking more from people. Every time somebody comes up with an idea to spend less, then that's when everyone gets negative. Oh, we can't do that. I think personally we can do anything if we actually have goals and set our mind to it.
I want to address the last question real quick. I had my hand up and I didn't have the opportunity to speak. I like to constantly focus on how we can make ourselves better. And the best way that we can do that is by the implementation of a transfer station to get rid of our trash fees. We'll be able to charge tipping fees again, like we used to charge when we had the dump open. And that will slowly do away with this $10 fee, and that will slowly potentially take away the trash bags and recycle vehicles as we need them, generating money and not burdening the taxpayer. Next, I was a firefighter for 3.5 years, and I was laid off due to fiscal mismanagement. I was one of the firefighters who got laid off because of the Safer Grant. I was the first truck to respond to the first Kilburn fire when it was about to burn down, and we stopped it with a full complement. What would have happened if we went down to 175 at that point in time?
This problem is not going away. Retirement costs are affecting our budget. Firefighters' salaries are going to go up. Police salaries, teacher salaries, city hall salaries, DPW salaries. We're part of a Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's no reason why Newton or Wellesley, because they have a better property tax base, should have better opportunity to hire more firefighters at higher salaries. The Commonwealth needs to come through, and most of all, the United States government need to come to our rescue as well. They bailed out banks. They need to address our cities.
I can't stand seeing issues like public safety and education constantly being politicized. We're gonna get the staffing that we can afford. Right now we're paying for 22 more firemen than we were paying in 2008. The people of Fall River are doing their part. People shouldn't be threatened into paying trash fees in order to pay for public safety. Two issues are totally separate, and if I privatize my trash at my house, my public safety will never be threatened. My friend Trott is the one who taught me that, so.
We are in a situation where we're in financial straits. We only can have what we can afford. The fact, to me, that's very, very we should prioritize is the breathing equipment that the fire department has. I had gone to the stations and they showed me the equipment, and I think we have to find ways of being able to get that equipment for them, making sure they have the proper equipment when they go into a fire that could mean life or death.
We're doing all right with the number of firefighters we have. All of the new high-rises have systems that dispense water. All of the homes that are sold must have smoke detectors. I've been here in a good times when we were able to give the firefighters and all of the other employees everything they asked for. Early retirement, pay for their uniforms. Things are tough now. My solution is the city council negotiate each and every contract with everyone who does business in the city. Let the city council take their stand, earn their money, and negotiate the contracts themselves.
I'm glad that Earl brought that up. That's a major problem. In life, as in business, you never get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And the city council, for some reason, avoids negotiating contracts with unions. I think we have enough firefighters as it is. We have some 200 less mills in the city. Fire codes and electrical codes are much better these days. But if you need to find money, there's plenty of ways to cut. I want to see the mayor cut his salary. I want to see the city council cut his salary and benefits for that matter. I don't know of any corporate America company that gives part-time employees such as city council's full-time benefits. We do that in Fall River, folks.
Our fire department, their equipment, trucks have a life of 10 to 11 years. Some of these trucks, most of them are 15 years old. Councilor Pereira mentioned that they're waiting for a study. Our city has a habit of studying with committees and commissions, but never has any answers. It should be done. That should be a top priority. It shouldn't wait.
For the last year, I've heard the firefighters say every night we go to sleep, my kids are in danger. We're dangerously, critically low of the amount of firefighters. There's people here saying that we have too many. There's people here saying we don't have enough. I heard Councilwoman Pereira say that we need more firefighters. There's no plan. She's been on that city council since I was 10 years old, and she's saying there's no plan. I think it's her job. I think it's all the people who've been running the city to have a plan and to implement a plan. They haven't done that. But what they have done is they bonded $650,000 for these silly brown trash barrels that we're going to privatize in a few months. I heard from someone that we need the federal government to bail us out. It's welfare. The city needs to take care of itself. So I have to tell me to stop.
What's the largest obstacle to prosperity in Fall River, and how would you propose overcoming it?
The largest obstacle is the lack of a vision. And I believe that it takes true vision, people who have the ability to figure out how to grow revenue without burdening the taxpayer, the ability to make decisions in order to be able to help Fall River grow for our children and our children's children. Back in May, I decided to release my long-term revenue growth plan. In that plan, I talk about multiple ideas on ways that we can grow revenue so that way it can compete with other municipalities throughout all of New England.
I read Rich's plan. I think you do have a few good points in there, but one of the things that I think, the reason I even got involved in all this stuff last year was the continued theft from people. Everybody knows the demographics in the city. Everybody's poverty stricken. The per capita income in the city is like a hair over $20,000. If that's the average, that means for every person you know that makes $40,000, $50,000, people like Ken Pacheco make $120,000, there's that many people that make $12,000 living on some sort of fixed income. I mean, those are the people we're taking money from to fund all this other stuff. I'm not giving these people any more money. Myself, Josh Silva, Trott Lee, and also Scott Donnelly all pledged to not raise taxes, fees, or fines for that first term. term. A lot of libertarians say the reason why people don't participate in government is there's no reason to. So that's why I myself don't vote in a lot of elections, you know what I mean? I go, I see the candidates, I say there's no reason to go. They're all the same. The reason I'm here is to give people a choice. They don't have a claim to your money, okay? If you don't want to give them any more money, vote for myself, vote for the other people I mentioned. If you do want to give them that money, if you think the city's going in a great direction and it's been on a great path over the last 30 years, vote for the incumbents.
I believe we need to look in the mirror and determine how can we become advocates for our city. We need to be proud of our city. We have a great city, close proximity to the great cultural centers of Boston, Providence, Newport, and yet we are the center of that hub. We have great festivals. I was down at the Narrows this weekend. Fabulous. We have a great hotel corporation located in Florida called Starwood. I worked there for 7 years, and I learned a lot from my time there. Every public employee and every person that works with the public, they all need to be ambassadors to great hospitality. We've got so much in Fall River that needs to be promoted, and each of us need to be that promoter.
There was a 10-year action plan to create a biopark and industrial park, a brand new biopark. And what happened? We had a new administration come in. First thing he started doing was meeting with casino people to put a casino in the biopark. When did anyone start talking about a casino in a biopark? That's the problem you have with government. Whenever you have a new leader and someone new to office, they come up with their ideas, and they weren't part of the 10-year action plan that people in this community were working together on. All of a sudden, there's an election, someone else comes into office. That's the problem with government. When you have new people coming in with their own ideas that are different than the long-term planning, it creates a problem.
It's the incumbents. It's the people that brought us here. It's the people that have had control over the city for the last 20 years. It's the president of city council who controls what we talk about at city council and controls how long we talk for and who can talk for longer than 3 minutes. Now, obviously, with the stop sign going, he doesn't even obey his own rules. If we can find some way to make the money that needs to be made off of marijuana, I will vow to not raise taxes next year.
We are in an ideal location. We need to take care of those who are here as vigorously as we try to bring others in. We need to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative.
I was listening to President Camara say this is what happens when you have these long-term plans and new people come in and they change. We have to have some level of flexibility in these plans because you never know what can happen. A lot of people want to hear these long-term 30-year plans, and sometimes there's some people that don't because they know that things change. There has to be room for change. I think that we all have to be involved in the process if we're all going to move forward as a city.
Bristol County and Fall River have been identified as among the locations with the highest opioid abuse rates in Massachusetts. As a city councilor, what do you think you could do to reduce those rates?
There's nothing I personally can do except be involved. If there's anything going around in our neighborhoods and all, it's for us to keep our eyes open and do something about it instead of just closing our eyes and being afraid of doing anything about it. Anyone who is involved in this type of drugs, they need help. And I will always do everything I can to support the Stanley Street facility. It was a situation where they wouldn't take care of anybody or do anything unless they were over 18. But when you have someone 14, that's the time that they need the help the most. Once they've been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years, it makes it harder. The ones who are making money off our children, ruining our families, they have to pay for what they're doing to our families.
As a society, we can do a lot of things. Our judicial system is wrong by incarcerating people for drug abuse. We should be spending the money treating them. Our jails are packed with youngsters because of drug abuse. As a city, there's not much we can do except be vigilant, not to be afraid to complain, participate, and watch our neighborhoods. Unfortunately, if it's not me or part of my family, I want nothing to do with it. That's what goes around. Society's at fault for that. I'm at fault for that. We're all at fault for that.
It's a state issue, it's a federal issue. In Fall River, we're in a unique situation where people who have drug addictions in other communities, they were incarcerated and they were court-ordered to come to the Start Treatment Center. After 30 days, family wasn't there to pick them up, neither were any of their friends. So they had to walk the streets of Fall River, and they stayed committing crimes in this city until they were smart enough, wise enough, and able enough to clean up their act. We're one of the very few communities court-ordered from people who have drug addictions in other areas of the state to seek treatment. They look at Fall River as to fix it for them. The reason we had a big trash problem in Fall River, they had a landfill landfill crisis throughout the Commonwealth. One of the few landfills that they were sending stuff to was a landfill in Fall River. Every time there's a problem statewide, it seems to find its way to this city or New Bedford or Taunton. Local officials, this is much greater than anything we can take on. The state and the federal government, they have to address the problem on a bigger sense.
We have the ability to affect change at our level, and we're seeing that happening in places like Gloucester and places like Cape Cod. I've currently been working on that for 4 months now in order to try to come up with a long-term solution to solve this opioid addiction epidemic.
Part of the problem is the insurance companies as well. Insurances pay for 3 days, 10 days. What do they have? Jesus Christ in there providing a miracle cure? It's more about getting people educated, giving them jobs, and making them feel good about themselves to stop what's going on.
I think we need to stop looking at people that abuse drugs as criminals. Because someone might have an issue, it doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person. We've been doing that in the United States for a long time, and it's not the answer. Rich brought up Gloucester. I believe addicts can go to the police station, ask for help, and turn in their paraphernalia or whatever the case may be. I don't have all the answers, but putting people in jail is just not the way to go. I think it's a waste of money.
I don't have all the answers either. Maybe through the school department, some type of education program. And if you see something like that going on, you have to call the police, because those are the people that are profiting from that. If you turn away their ability to make money from it, then you reduce the problem. Hopefully, the problem will be solved.
I just want to touch base on what that last topic was about the drug use. I've had plenty of my friends die. To hear from the city council president say that, oh, this is above a local issue, that's not going to work. People are dying every day in this city of Fall River. Something has to happen. The city of Fall River can do something to help this problem, right? It has to. If not, step off the job. If you're going to run this city and you're going to say, people are dying, nothing we can do, I don't want to hear that myself as a voter. I live in this city. I heard Councilwoman Casey say, we need to help these people. And then, by the way, the last thing, we need to hammer them. It totally signs on to the complete failed war on drugs, right? We can change that on a local level, just like the chief in Gloucester did. We had a police chief who cared about human beings, like that gentleman in Gloucester. We wouldn't be throwing everybody in jail. I'm coming here to help people. There's a few people who are running, I think, are in the same boat. I'm sorry I wasted my whole closing on that, but that's probably one of the biggest issues. I'm trying to get in and actually use the government for a groundbreaking, earth-shattering thing to help people, not to destroy their lives.
I believe the issue is planning today for tomorrow. We can't keep having committees. Things have to be implemented. Safer grant, as an example, that's going to run out in 2 years. We can't wait 2 years from now to decide how we're going to replace that money if that grant is not renewed. I wish it would be renewed. It's fantastic. I'm not a politician. I will tell you how I feel. I will vote how I feel.
Like many of you, I believe Fall River is moving in the wrong direction. Taxes are going up, new fees being tacked on, but we as citizens are constantly being told that we do not pay enough. They can't get blood from a stone. When the average Fall River resident adds up their water bill, sewer bill, the water meter fee, stormwater fee, trash fee, bag fee, excise tax, property tax, the higher costs they pay for homeowners and auto insurance, you gotta ask yourself, are you getting the best deal? If this is how I feel, then why am I still here? Because I love Fall River too, everybody. We need fresh faces with new ideas, energy, and the vision to look into the future. In closing, I am challenging all the candidates and all their supporters in the last week before the primary, instead of standing on a corner holding a sign and waving at cars, get out, clean up the city, go to the park, have fun with your family, do something constructive in Fall River.
I just want people to know that we do have a drug court in Fall River now. It doesn't seem like anybody's aware of that, and they are having people go into treatment, not being incarcerated. As a city councilor, you are only one vote of 9. Getting the majority of 9 city councilors to support your idea isn't always easy. I've been very successful at earning the majority of votes on important issues because I respect my colleagues, their opinions as well. I requested the city collector split that maintenance bill in half. I've asked department heads when they purchase equipment, purchase to buy, rent to own, saving taxpayers' dollars. There are many proposals. This is a stack of that have been filed this cycle. Don't think that your councilors don't work for you. They do. There's 2 projects that I'm working on. One is a military surplus. If we can get it, it's in good condition and it's for free, saves taxpayer money. Another one is the South Watuppa Pond. We're surrounded by water, yet we can't reach it. I'm doing something about it.
Most cities and towns learned that you can't tax people just for the sake of it or just because you failed. Apparently, we haven't learned that in Fall River as of yet. Just about every year there's a new tax. You may call it a fee, it's a tax. I think most of these candidates have something to offer this city, not just now during election time, but afterwards, whether they get elected or not. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. Some come and disappear. We have great events in this city. The USS Massachusetts, the Holy Ghost Feast, the Ha-Ha, and goes on and on and on. But there's no connection between the three of them or the four of them. We have some of the best restaurants in New England, right here in this city.
This election's going to come down to two different things. Where the money's going to come from. Is it going to come from less spending, or is it going to come from, hey, we need the money, so we're going to take it from you? We have to work together. There's people in this crowd that literally hate each other because of politics. It shouldn't be bringing us to these drawn lines. It should be bringing us together. If you want the government to take more from you, vote for the same people that have been doing it to you. But if you want people that think that there's a better way, that know that the bonding for barrels, meanwhile fire departments, falling apart. If you want that, just keep on voting for that. We all love this city, but we all need to do something different in order to make it better.
The people in Fall River should know every candidate's history. My family roots go back 400 years when my Native Americans intermarried with the Franco-Americans in the early 1600s. The Franco-Americans and Native Americans intermarried with the Pilgrims. Now let's fast forward to the present. My mother was a first-generation Irish-American. My wife was a first-generation Irish-Italian-American. The Gaudette clan is really part of the melting pot that created our country, and we are proud of our history. And it continues with my children marrying Portuguese, German, and Icelandic Americans. This concludes the past and the present. I'd just like to say that I am a proud veteran. I have 8 awards for my active service, and I have 16 awards, and I can wear my gold in every parade.
I also like to say that I served in the military for 3 years. I served my country. Now I've been serving my city, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud that I've had the opportunity. I will continue to work on something that I've been working on because we need a beach in the city of Fall River. We have all waterfront. For us not to have a public beach here in our city that people have to go all over because they want to go swimming, I will fight till my death to get a beach here in Fall River.
I want to work for your family because I think there's been enough of politicians taking care of their own and not enough of people taking care of Fall River. I have confidence in our city and its people. Together, we can succeed. There's too much division now. We need to join together. Budgets must provide money for direct services. As a city council president, I led a council that supported resources for capable fire, police, teachers, community maintenance workers, and government center staff. Local, state, and federal governments collect enough taxes. Our city carries a greater burden than most. County, state, and federal officials need to recognize this and help us with the revenue to meet our needs. I reject regressive taxation and fees, particularly the recently established trash fee. We must stop driving our homeowners, our tenants, businesses into poverty and bankruptcy.
Someone brought it up that they consider councilors part-time employees, and we are, but it all depends on how much time you put into it. And if they get elected, they're going to find out that this job is 24/7, 7 days a week, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But throughout my tenure, I've never taken any benefits from the city of Fall River. I've always paid for my benefits. The law provides it. If someone needs it and they want it, it's there, it's available, they're paying for it as well. But I chose not to do that because I thought it was the right thing to do for me. People don't understand what we have right in our own city. Fall River is one of the best places to live in the country. We have the largest data storage facility in New England, right in the heart of our city on Bedford Street. People don't know about it. No one understands what the capability is and how much potential that facility has. Do you understand how many people graduate from colleges within 25 minutes of the city of Fall River? Brown University, Providence College, Stonehill, Bridgewater University, Roger Williams, Salve Regina, UMass Dartmouth. These people are turning over thousands and thousands of engineers, educators, professionals every year, and people like to come and work in Fall River because there's a lot of options here.
I believe I have the experience, and I believe I have the know-how in order to be able to help our city grow. I served 13 years in the military. I'm a combat veteran, and I put my life on the line for our country. I put my life on the line for our city for 3.5 years as a Fall River firefighter running into burning buildings, until I was laid off due to fiscal mismanagement. If I'm elected, you won't see that fiscal mismanagement anymore because I have the know-how in order to be able to do so. I have 4 years experience as a financial advisor and know what fiscal responsibility actually is. is. We need to stop kicking the can down the road. We need to bend over, pick that can up, and throw it away in the recycle bin. If you allow me to serve as your next city councilor, you'll get somebody who understands what it means to serve. You'll get somebody who knows, through their know-how, how to be able to get in and dive into the budget and lead by example.
I didn't meet half of these people. I've never met half of these people until August. You hear all these people say, I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. But as a city councilor, we're supposed to do what they want. That's something that I'm sure I bring to the table, Jordan brings to the table, Josh brings to the table, Trott brings to the table, Richard brings to the table. Oh, Scott Donnelly brings that to the table too. Can't forget Scott. There's also another problem with this city, and that's the leadership. The only way anything can be started is it has to go through the mayor. And that's why I wanted to run for a mayor. I would set the example that nobody else would love.
Let's have a round of applause for all of the candidates.